Welcome to the Business Behavior Podcast. I'm your host, Kelly P. Hodges, and this is my co-host and business partner, Chandra Brooks. Y'all missed her last week, right? Remember, I told you.
She booted me.
I did not. And do you know she had the nerve to text me and say, "Oh, so I'm not on the show this month?" She had some other obligations. Okay, but we're back. We're excited to be here, and it is hot. It's the summer. And we have a lot to talk about in our little 30-minute window. And we are so excited to have our special guest with us today, Mitchell McElroy. Say hi, Mitchell.
Hi. Thanks for having me. Very glad to be here.
Mitchell, okay, we're going to relax. This is Mitchell's first podcast, and we're excited to have him on the Business Behavior Podcast. And Mitchell, we're just excited about you and the things that you've done, the co-founder of
Speed Shopper, the Speed Shopper app.
So, Mitchell, welcome to the Business Behavior Podcast. Mitchell, tell us about this phenomenal Speed Shopper app. Like, how did the whole idea or concept come about?
So, Speed Shopper really came out of a need that I had. So, it came one day. I was shopping, and I had a list, and it was full of items to make a certain recipe. So, some things that I hadn't normally shopped for, didn't know where to find things in the store. Just so happened to be like a football Sunday, and I'm a big football fan. I like to stay home and watch football. Instead, I missed the entire game because I was trying to line items off my list. And so that was a big motivation to try to find me an app that could tell me where things were. I was at HEB. I'll never forget it because it was it was extremely upsetting having to miss the entire game that day. I looked for an app that would tell me like where things were in the store, and there was nothing. And so I had a background in web development, not so much in app development. And so I decided to just take a crack at it. And so I developed the first like prototype for that app, and that was in 2017. And that's how I got started.
That is amazing. So this was your very first app that you created?
Yes, my first app.
Oh, that's amazing. And so tell us, how does that work? Like, how can we access your app? Like, and then how do you gauge the success of an app?
So you can access it now through the App Store if you have Apple or Apple, and then it's in the Google Play Store as well. So I have it on for both devices. So like, and what was the second part of the question?
I was asking, how do you gauge the success of an app? Is it by how many downloads? Just kind of give us a little tutorial education about how that works. Like, how do you gauge the success of your app?
Right. I think like a lot of people who download apps, they gauge it based on downloads. But if you're the actual like app developer, you look at your daily active users. So there's a lot of apps that people download and then they just delete it and they don't use it. So you look at your daily active, like engaged users. And so that's how, you really know if the app is successful, if people are actually keeping it on their phone. And then also like, for developers, like on the back end, Apple and Google will provide you with, that data to show you who's actively using your app. That's the most important thing, how active they are using it.
So out of those active users, can you gauge the age group who are more active than another age group?
So you can. It's gotten a little more difficult, with the privacy practices being enhanced, especially on the Apple side. With my app, I don't capture like age data. So, but that's something that you can, if you want to put that in the app, maybe make that part of the sign up process or data collection process. You can do that. I don't do that, but as far as age range, but I do capture other data that's relevant and important, just not age data. So
that's amazing. So are you just maybe not interested? Because I'd be interested to know like what age range is actually utilizing. So what did you do from a marketing perspective? Because what we do at Hodges Communications Group, which the Business Behavior Podcast is powered by Hodges Communications Group, we're a marketing communications company. So we're really interested in that type of data. So from a marketing perspective, so how do you tailor your marketing with that?
So I guess the cool thing about being on the platforms like with Apple and Android is that they have the data on their users already. So when they when you see a report of your daily active users, they're telling you the age range, they're telling you location data because they already have it. So I only need to capture data that Google and Apple are not going to already have on you. Now, in the case, like I said, with Apple, they're a lot more restrictive. If you're trying to capture data from an Apple user, it's going to be a lot more difficult, and they have the ability to opt out of so many different things that you find relevant for marketing. As far as collecting data. Android, on the other hand, you can collect a lot more relevant data, but they already have it and they provide it. But in regards to marketing, a lot of what I've done is just be visible and present in the App Store and in the Google Play Store by using keywords that people are searching for.
And the app is free, right?
It's free. So it does there are certain like in-app purchases, like upgrades that users can purchase, but the app is totally free to use.
So if a person was interested in creating their own app, what does it take to do that?
Well, I guess it depends on the type of app, because I guess like once people like that I know, found out that I did have an app, I get asked a lot of different questions like, I want an app, I have an idea for an app. And it really does make a difference what type of app you want to develop. So like, if for example, you'd like to develop, let's like a game app. Game apps are extremely popular. They're a lot easy to develop and maintain than, for example, an app like I have, like a shopping list app. And then it also depends on which platform. So like along the way of doing this, I've learned a lot about how difficult it is and the nuance and the different type of apps you want to develop. So it really depends on what type of app you'd be trying to develop.
Okay, so going back to your app, the stores that you have are those partnerships? Is that a relationship? How did you get the grocery stores to buy into what you're doing?
And
so,
how does it make money? That's what I want to know. I'm sorry. That's what she's tiptoeing around. Like,
yes.
We want, how does it make money?
so there's multiple ways that the app generates revenue. So in regards to the partnership question, the only store that I have, like you said, I've officially partnered with is Food Town in Houston. I've partnered with them and we've done events and like as far as collecting like our data, things like that. But as far as like the other stores, so for example, like HEB, Walmart, Target, some of the stores that most of our users shop at, there's no, I guess, like a partnership with them as far as anything exclusive. What my app does is aggregate data from those stores, like their data. So essentially, like HEB, Walmart, Target, Kroger, these stores, they have all location data for their items. And if you were to like go to their websites or their apps, you could find that, but the process it's very tedious and not user friendly. So what I do is I take all that data, I aggregate it, and I make it very simple and easy to access. So like, for example, let's say you shop at Walmart and you want to buy milk. If you do that on Walmart's app, you're gonna have to choose like what type of milk. Is it whole milk? Is it lactose-free milk? All that stuff. And then once you choose all those things, it'll tell you the aisle location. With my app, you just say milk. Doesn't matter if you say milk, whole milk, lactose-free milk. You can say whatever you want. It's gonna pull that aisle information. And so I don't have to have a partnership with them because the way I aggregate data for that. So as far as like that goes, there's no partnership with the store. The way that the app generates revenue that you're asking is we sell advertising in the list. So like, for example, if you do have milk on your shopping list, we put advertisements in the actual list. So on your item, it'll appear like a hyperlink and you click that and anybody who is getting that item at that store or at that whole chain, they'd see that ad. And so it's advertising to the brands. I'm sorry. I sell advertising to the brands and stores. So like one of the things that I noticed from working with Food Town was wanting to potentially advertise or worried about potential advertising with Kroger. If Food Town wants to advertise to Kroger shoppers, how would they do that? And the answer would be in my app. So if Food Town wants to place advertisements for their milk, their brand of milk inside of Kroger or HEB or Walmart, they do that with me. And so that's how it generates revenue. That's one way that it generates revenue.
That's interesting. And so not only that, but the app also, like you said early on, it saves time. And for someone like me, I hate the grocery store. So like I cannot stand going to the grocery store.
Whereas me, I like the grocery store and I go down each aisle.
Very interesting that you say that. That's been what I've heard a lot of.
All day, every day. Where are you? I'm in the grocery store.
Every aisle, huh?
She has her own parking space.
Kids who have children.
I hate that too. That's a whole nother. That's gonna be a whole nother podcast. I think that's discriminatory for people who don't have kids. So I don't have kids. I have to park all the way at the end of the parking lot.
Well, what about all the handicapped people?
Well, I mean, well, that's true, but they need that.
That's for another show.
That's a whole nother show. But I'm just saying, you cannot tell by someone the way they look on the outside of the handicap. Look at me, I needed it when I had my pulmonary embolisms. I couldn't walk to the door. I almost died. So you
That's
cannot
another show.
judge that.
That's another show.
That. Anyway.
So Mitchell, you was gonna make a comment about someone like myself that likes to walk down all the aisles.
So how can she benefit from the app?
Right. So in this, well, actually, I never really knew that there were people who did that until I created this app, and I tried to first I tried to reach out to friends and family and people that I knew and say, hey, I got this app, and I'll tell them what it does, and that was one of the biggest things I heard. Well, I don't really want an app that's going to help me stop faster. That's my me time. That's when I go up in every single aisle, and I enjoy that process. And honestly, I didn't know people like that existed. But after kind of thinking about that, and what I realized is there's going to be times when you're in the store and you just want to, you like browsing, right? But then sometimes you're looking for something specific. And so it's okay. The app will tell you where things are specifically. But if you still want to be that person that has those impulse buys and see that thing and say, oh, I want to try that, you can still do it. And because I honestly, like, I'm a person who at certain stores, like I think Target, Walmart, kind of stores like that, I do enjoy browsing a little bit. Knowing where things are on my list don't stop me from browsing. It just makes sure I find those things first. Then I have more time to spend browsing and kind of seeing what else the store has to offer. So I mean, it's still that's very common. As I've actually been told, like, I'm trying to take people's joy, or
don't do that.
Yeah, like, and that's not.
That's going too far now.
No, that's too much. That's too much. No.
So you let the cat out the bag. That is me time. You're absolutely right.
Is that what it is, friend?
It is.
I'm gonna leave you alone, then. She gets a lot of me time. Let me just say that she gets a lot of me time. So, one of the things we wanted to talk about on this show is that my phone? Because we're on a podcast. I lost my total train of thought. So how does it work? Like one of the things we wanted to talk about today was your having a full-time job, and how do you balance that? That's one of the things about turning your hustle but still maintaining a full-time job.
I'm gonna be honest with you, it's been extremely challenging. One of the for me, I can honestly say, like, early on, there really wasn't much balance. Like when I, a couple of years ago, when I was kind of trying to get the app going, trying to get it developed and all that, I was sacrificing sleep and personal relationships, and that's something that I've learned over time. And then as far as, like, of course, I do have a full-time job, and there were many days, weeks, where I'm showing up to work and I've only had a couple hours of sleep, or I'm still up from the night before. And it's hard. I think I had to, it was a lot of coffee involved, and so it's very difficult, especially when you're like, I feel like I'm the kind of person, I can be kind of extreme. I lock in and I'm like, I have to finish this. Today, kind of after going through, just all the physical issues that come along with not sleeping and the mental strains and all that stuff. What I've learned is I've learned how to better prioritize, like what actually has to be done today. As far as like my job goes, you can't forget like this is paying the bills. So
Right.
I don't need to lose this job because I'm trying to pursue my dream. And you know, that's it. So it's as far as how I balance it today, it looks a lot different than how I did a couple years ago. It's been a journey. I think anybody that's kind of starting a business will kind of tell you when you're really passionate and you're just getting off the ground, sometimes you can be a little extreme. Once you have it going and things are kind of flowing a little bit better, you can relax a little bit, but it's you have to change mentally. Like you're in a different gear now. And like that's kind of I'm in a position now where you know I just take a day sometimes and I say I'm gonna sleep today.
Mm-hmm.
I take a day and I just say, you know, I'm off today. I just give myself a day off, which is really hard when you know this is your side business and it's your passion. Yeah, you have to. And so that's kind of what I do. I force myself to take the time that I need because I've dealt with the mental anguish and the physical problems.
And there's no catching up on sleep. You know that, right? Once you've lost it, you've lost it. There's no catching up on it. We know that. And you brought up some very valid points in prioritizing and knowing, you know, the importance of what needs to be done and like that full-time job that's what I call our bread and butter, the benefits, that the job with the healthcare plan is important. So we want our audience to really understand that concept, but it's doable, but it's a process and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And Chandra and I have been doing it for quite some time. So we also want to thank our audience, everyone who's tuned in. I see James has a comment. He asked if you could share your app list. So you want to, James, I'm assuming the list of apps that he has on his phone?
No.
Or what is he asking?
Well, what I think he's asking is once you create a list in the app, can you share that list with someone else?
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, you definitely can. Yeah. So that's one of the features that it's kind of always been there, but I recently updated that. If you want to share your list, you just tap it's a share button, green share button. And it'll send that to someone else. You can email it or you can text it to them, however they get it, and then they'll have to download the app, but then they can see like the same list you have. Like you share that list, and you can update it in real time and all that. And if they let's say add an item, it'll send you a notification letting you know that it's been updated. It's a really cool feature. Very, very helpful. I use it all the time.
So if Chandra's in the store and I know she's in the store and I don't want to go to the store, I can just say, can you pick up these things for me and share my list with her?
Yes.
Yay. Okay.
Yes. And whenever you add a new item, she can't say, oh, I didn't know, because it's going to send her a notification saying new items been added to the list.
That's how you gonna do me, Mitchell. That's how you gonna do me.
Well, I mean, you like being in the store anyway, right? So
because she would do that. That would be her. I didn't get it. I didn't get your text, but you got this app because it showed me that you got it and you opened it. So thank you. We have go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, yeah.
Miss Green, how you doing, Mama Green? She wants to know, is the app only for grocery stores or can this concept be useful in department stores, for example, Macy's?
Yeah, so I mean, technically, I would say it's more suited for grocery stores now only because of the aisle location feature. Department stores have sections, they don't really have aisles. But I mean, from what I've seen, there are people that use this app in all kinds of stores. And I mean, a lot of people use it just to make like the general list for the day. Like I've seen, like you'll see like a list and it'll just say like, go to the ATM or like just people, just generic things to do because it's a list app. Even without the aisle location feature, it's still a list app. It's just as good as like, some of the other apps like AnyList or, there's other apps that people use just to make a generic list. So it does that. It's just when you go to the grocery store, it'll give you aisle locations and make it a little better for you that way.
Okay. And Nakia Cooper says she missed the part about how I make money with the app. She says to tell her that part again. He makes money through advertising, Nakia. So you may want to hit him up.
But Mitchell, also share how if a person downloads your app, how they can make money.
Yeah, so like one of the features that I integrated from the beginning, which actually it's gotten I would say a little more popular than I thought it would be was the ability to earn cryptocurrency. So essentially, without being too technical, with the way the app works, so we aggregate data from the actual shopping. I mean, from the grocery stores. But then there's some stores like I heard you mention. I think it was Sam's or Costco. I think you said Sam's earlier. Sam's is a store that does not provide that aisle data, so it's not out there. And so, but if you go to a Sam's Club and you do want to add an aisle location, you can add it yourself, but it just doesn't come from Sam's. And so, if you have certain things you're always buying, you may say, "Oh, because Sam's is set up a little weird. They have like big freezers and like some of the aisle numbers are 120. Like it's it's a little different." But if you save that yourself, we pay you in cryptocurrency, which is it's an Ethereum based like token, which on the platform, like on the app, you can redeem those tokens for gift cards to like a lot of restaurants and like other grocery stores, stuff like that. So like we encourage people to like help us build a database for the stores we don't have. And of course, we actively aggregate the data ourselves, but some stores just the data's not out there. And so we have a lot of users who, I mean, they'll add hundreds of items and then pay them out in cryptocurrency, and it has a built-in feature in the app to manage and store your cryptocurrency and spend it. And that's something
you can make some money.
Sounds like I'm gonna be a part of that money making machine.
Yes, and then I get a third of the third. So with that being said, I want to just talk with you a little bit about your vision. I know you mentioned this was your first app, very successful with your first app. In starting this whole process, how was the support base for your for this vision? Like, how did that work for you, friends and family and colleagues?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's challenging. I think what I found is, as far as friends and family, like a lot, I mean, you get encouragement, like, oh, that's great. I'm glad to hear, you're doing good. But when it comes to actually like use the app, like download it, try it, like active engagement, what I found is sometimes friends and family, they're almost like, the last to actually really, give you a chance. And I think, what I found is, what I've learned, because I know a lot of times it's easy to get, kind of get your feelings hurt a little bit, like, when your friends and family don't initially, jump all over it. But what I've learned is you have to kind of treat friends and family like you treat everybody else. Like I have to sell this to you as well. I need to sell the benefits of this, and people kind of jump on the bandwagon, and even if it's like friends and family. So I had to get a certain amount of success and I guess adoption from strangers, people who just customers, and get real feedback before people that I know closely would actually try it out. And I, after talking to a lot of other entrepreneurs and business owners, I found that to be the case across a lot of businesses. And so I don't take that personally anymore. And I realized that that's just how it is. Like when you were saying how you like to go up and down all the aisles. The first person that I heard that from was someone in my own family. Who I was like, hey, try my app, and I'm not gonna name any names because she might be watching this now, but she was like, yeah, I just kind of like to go up and down every single aisle, and that's just how I shop. So I don't really see why I would need that. And honestly, one of the first things I told you, I partnered with Food Town. I got a chance to actually go there and get some direct customer feedback, and so they let me stand like right at the front. I had my sign and everything, and and a lady walked up to me and she just goes, like, why would anybody want to do that? She said, she said, who's too lazy to just go in and just get their stuff? Like why would I need to look at it? Like she just like tried to just tore me down right there in front of my face. And ultimately, I think with friends and family, the best way to approach that is to don't expect them to, and I know it's hard because you expect more from them. They're going to be encouraging, they're going to say the right things, but don't really expect them to be like your customers if you haven't sold this to them as if they're anybody else.
Right.
And that's what I've had to learn. And so,
But I want to say, even though I enjoy walking down all the aisles, I think that this is a great app because sometimes it's that one thing that I can't find. Like some Krogers are set up differently. Some things are in the front of the store versus in other stores is in the back of the store. So it will help me, in that sense, in trying to find the picante sauce. And I went on the tomato aisle and it's not there. And I went where the spaghetti sauce is, it's not there. So where's the picante sauce? So
Right.
I think that it's a very, very good concept. And, from our audience, we have a question from Danita. Did anyone in your family, Danette, did anyone in your family support you anyway? Like your really close family?
Yeah, no, I actually, yes. I got a lot
That
of.
must be. Is that your aunt?
That's my mother, actually, and she has been. She's been my primary supporter. She's had my back this entire time. And just in all fairness, she's yes, I've had family who have supported me and have my back. But I've had to sell her a bit as well, just to be honest. She's been very supportive, but I have had to, and honestly, one thing I will say, a lot of times what family will do is give you that initial feedback. Sometimes that negative feedback, that constructive criticism, that helps you make things better. And I can say, she's been a part of that as well. Kind of, my mom is kind of, I'll say, of a different generation. And so apps is not, necessarily doesn't come second nature, or so her feedback has actually been extremely helpful in helping me design the app to make it a little more user friendly for everybody. I don't want to make it I've gotten a lot of support and positive feedback from my friends and family.
You redeemed yourself, Mitchell. You did. And
I
your
hope so.
mom, Danette Davis, is an entrepreneur. She has an awesome enterprise as well, Danette K. Davis and Associates, and so look her up as well. So you had a really good role model and someone to kind of pattern and modern your business behavior after. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, my mom and dad are both entrepreneurs, and so that helps a lot.
Awesome. We have a question from Chelsea. Chelsea, thank you for joining us. And Chelsea says, as stores change their layout, how does the app stay updated? How does your app stay updated with that?
So the process for aggregating data, like we do that like roughly every 2 weeks. So like there's a couple ways. One, like we use crowdsourced information. So if someone's in the store and they see, like, for example, it happens a lot like during holidays, seasonal changes, make the change yourself. And that way it'll update our database. But we also we run various processes about every 2 weeks. And so we update it that way as well. So we keep it updated and fresh by aggregating that data like every other week.
Okay, that's amazing. Yeah. That is so interesting. And for you to have so much success your first time out the gate with an app. So what are future plans for your app? Are you looking at maybe designing something different? How will you improve upon your app?
So kind of what I already have in the works is really just building out more of I would say a network around. So like, for example, I told you one of the ways that we generate revenue is having brands advertised on our platform. So I created, there's I guess it's called Grocery Shopper News. Essentially, it's building out that marketing platform so that in addition to being able to offer being in the shopping list, I can reach more shoppers on behalf of the brands that advertise with speed shopping. So like there's even, actually, I guess I haven't talked about it much, but it does exist. I built it as a game that you may see if you look in the App Store. It's called Escape the Grocery Store, and it's based on the character from Speed Shopper, and basically it's a game for kids. And like one of the things you asked about, like my job, my full-time job, I'm a teacher, and so I work with kids a lot. And I notice how much time they spend on their phones and how many games they play and how the games are full of advertisements and how that could be another marketing stream for the brands that advertise with me. So I built a game, and so in the game itself, while the kids are playing, the advertisements are in the back. So like if you see the game, I don't want to go into it too much, but it has basically the character, he's on the shelves, and then you see advertisements for the brands that are advertising with my company. Wow. And so I don't want to, as far like I'm expanding the reach, like basically trying to better serve those my customers, the brands that advertise with me. Mm-hmm. So I'm not deviating from Speed Shopper. I'm kind of expanding what Speed Shopper offers in the realm of advertising.
Okay. Well, Mitchell, we are going to wrap up our segment. Thank you so much for joining us today. This has been very enlightening, and I know that Chandra will appreciate your app. I will appreciate the app, but for someone like me, I will definitely utilize it because I just want to run in, grab what I need to get, and not have to call my mom and say, "Where is that again?" So the app will be very useful for people like me. Her, on the other hand, not so much. But
so for those of you who want to go in and out, make sure you download his app, Speed Shopper. You can access that on
Google.
What's that?
What's
everything.
Store?
I don't know. We don't know Google. We know the app store.
The app store, but it's called Google Play app, and then we're so lost with Androids. It's just amazing. And I'm like, oh my god, how do I do? Like, I have a client that has an Android, and whenever I have to go live with them, I'm like, oh my god, I don't even know how to do this. So yeah, I don't understand why everyone doesn't have an iPhone. I don't get it. But
there are reasons.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
You.
And,
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you all for tuning in, and you can go and pull up his app on the Google Play or Apple apps at the App Store. Thank you all for joining the May edition of Business Behavior Podcast, and we will see you all in June. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mitchell.
Thank you, Mitchell.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right.